Hi, my name is Megan Wood. I work in the advisor marketing team at Intuit Australia, and I'm going to take you through a demonstration of QuickBooks Tax powered by LodgeiT. So firstly, a little about LodgeiT. Now, LodgeiT is an online tax preparation and lodgement tool. It's an Australian company and was founded by Andrew Noble, who has been in public practice for over 20 years. Now, this gives LodgeiT a bit of an unfair advantage as it's been designed by an accountant who completely understands the importance of streamlining your tax and VAS workflows through smart design as well as automation. Now, Intuit has an exclusive partnership with LodgeiT, and our development teams work very closely together, especially in the area of integration. So if you'd like to learn more about LodgeiT, we recommend you head to lodgeit.net.au. So today I'm going to take you through a few key areas of LodgeiT, including some key practice settings so that you can see how you can tailor LodgeiT to suit your firm. We'll then jump in and have a look at a couple of return types. So we'll start with an individual return so that you can see how to key data in. We'll also see how the e-signature functionality works. We'll then look at a company return to see how the integration works. Now in this example, we'll link QuickBooks Online to LodgeiT, but you can do the same with MYOB and Xero. And we'll then wrap up by looking at the various tools available in LodgeiT, including the reporting, work papers, as well as calculators. So let's jump in and have a look. So here we are in LodgeiT, in my completely fictitious accounting firm, Wood Accounting and Advisory Services, and these are my tax returns. Now you can view this information via a couple of dashboards. So we have the work dashboard, forms, reports and work papers. I've marked the forms one as my default dashboard. So every time I hit the dashboard button, this is what it's going to display. The reason I like this one is it shows all of the returns as they work through the tax workflow from drafted through to lodged. Now before we have a look at a couple of tax returns, I wanted to take you into a couple of settings in the practice area so you can see how you can personalize LodgeiT to suit your firm. So to do that, we go into the cogwheel and I'm going to select settings. Now the first area you see is branding. So this is where you upload your logo so that it can be displayed in various reports and emails that you send on to your clients. In the e-sign area, this is where you define your e-signature controls. So LodgeiT provides unlimited e-signatures to help your firm get forms out, approved, signed and back to the office for lodgement. And in this area, this is where you set up whether you want to be notified if someone has signed or not signed or declined a request. Down in the client reminders area, this is where the system will automatically remind clients to sign a report and send it back to the office. And then in this email templates area, this is where you lay out the wording or the copy that you would like in those emails that get sent out to clients. So if we quickly have a look at the income tax return, the individual income tax return sample, this is the wording that will go out, letting someone know that they've got their individual tax return to sign. And over here we have sort of merge fields that you can put into any of your emails, so the information will automatically pre-fill from LodgeiT into the email. In the vein of emails, if we quickly look here, this is where you sync your firm's email system with LodgeiT, and basically what that means is that when you send emails out of LodgeiT, it will have the team members' normal email address as opposed to using this default email address, noreply@lodgeit.net.au. Another quick little time saver that I wanted to show you relates to the assessment area. So what LodgeiT can do for you is when the notice of assessment information is received from the Australian Taxation Office, it will compare it to the estimate that you sent out to the client. And if there's no variance, if you tick this box, that means that the system will automatically send out those notice of assessments out to your clients. So that's that. One other little area I wanted to take you into is team. And so this relates to security, if you like. So in this area for team members, you have the ability to control what they have access to. So in this case, we can see under the client permissions area that this team member is unable to delete clients and groups. We also, under the work permissions area, we can define whether they have access to sign forms, lodge forms, etc. And also in the files permissions area, whether they have the ability to upload, edit, delete files. So that gives you a nice sort of level of security at employee level, but it's worth noting too that even at return level, you'll be able to define which team members can actually access certain returns. So it gives you a second level of security, if you like, which is important. So that's just a little bit of a glimpse around ways that you can tailor LodgeiT to suit your practice. Now we might go back to the dashboard and have a look around here. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the forms dashboard, and down here are my clients. Now, I'm sure you manage more than 4 tax returns, so if you need to filter your returns lists, you've got a number of filters here that you can use. So, for example, if you wanted to have a look at just the company tax returns in the system, you can select that, or even if it was completed by a certain team member, you can look up information there as well. Okay, so we are going to do an individual tax return, again, just so that you can get a feel for how manual data entry works in LodgeiT. So to select a client, you can select from the pick list here, or alternatively, you can type the first few letters of their name. And so in this case, we're going to select Bronwyn. We're going to do her tax return. And then once you're actually in the return, you can see there's a whole range of options that have popped up here. So I won't go through them all individually, but I will give you a quick overview of what each does. So under custom reports, this is where you can create special purpose financial reports for your clients. LodgeiT comes with a whole range of entity type SPFRs, and you can tailor those to suit your practice. Under the work papers area, this is where you can create fundamentally substantiation documents for key values within a client's financials. Under the tools area, there's some great calculators and tools here to help you complete a tax return. And under the reports area, there's a whole range of reports associated with the return, and also the tools area. So you've got a range of reports there as well. Financials is where you can look at the financial information for a particular return where it's relevant. The files area is where you will store and upload files for this particular taxpayer, so sort of a bit of a document management area, if you like. The relationships area is where you set up the relationships of the taxpayer with other entities, so whether they're a director or a shareholder, for example. Notes area is for capturing any sort of particular client notes you might want to share with the team. And under settings, this is where you set up your client's information. Okay, so we're going to do an individual tax return for Bronwyn. So I'm going to select here, add form, and the relevant forms that are available for this type of taxpayer is available. So I'll select individual tax return. From here, you can select the year that you would like to lodge. So as we mentioned with individual tax returns, you can go back to prior years to 2015. So we're going to select 2021, and then we click the create and pre-fill button. So if you had financials to import for this particular taxpayer, you can select the import financials area. Now I'll take you in here, even though we're not going to import financials for Bronwyn. But I just wanted to highlight, these are all of the accounting solutions and systems you can import data from. Now, a few of them, QuickBooks Online, Xero, and MYOB Account Right Live, have dynamic connections, which means that once they're connected, the information will flow through from those systems automatically. With the other systems, so we've got Reckon Accounts, Reckon One, etc., you can import the information in, but it's a static import. So every time you need to refresh it, you would need to import it. So we're not importing financials for Bronwyn at this stage, but again, I wanted to show you that so you can see what sort of flexibility you've got for your clients. So let's go back into Bronwyn's return. Next, we select Continue. And then on this screen, there's a couple of things I'd like to highlight. The first here is around Minimizing data entry. So one of the great things about LodgeiT is that where there's any opportunity to import data or pre-fill data for you, it'll do it. So whether that's ATO information that can be brought through, or whether it's information in the LodgeiT database, for example, dividend payments or things like that. And the intent there is just to minimize the data entry that you need to do so that you can get through the returns faster. Now, all of these boxes relate to sections within an individual return. So you simply select the relevant sections that you need to complete for this particular taxpayer. Now, this particular PAYG one is blue because that's what was completed last year. So it's automatically pre-filled or rolled over for you. So in this case, I'm going to select Bronwyn's earned a bit of interest. So we'll select that and hit the complete button. Now, if you miss a section, doesn't matter. When you're in the actual return, you can select any of the sections that are relevant to add. So here we are in the tax return, and across here we have the components of the tax return to complete. So you can simply click on the menu item that you want to complete, or you can hit the next button down here that'll take you into the next section for you to complete. So if we come back to the income area, we're going to go into the PAYG, and we'll start with salary and wages, and we can see that the worksheet from last year has been pre-filled. So that detail retains, and then we just have to pop in the tax information. So I'll put in some numbers, and then we can hit the back button, and automatically you can see it's calculating whether there is an amount refundable or whether there is an amount due. Now let's add interest. So we'll go into the interest area, and we're going to add a worksheet. So I will add some detail here. You'll notice I'm actually tabbing through this worksheet, which makes it fast to complete. Now, the next thing we want to do is validate the return. So we want to see if it's missing anything. So if I click the validate button, you'll see that you're given a couple of error messages, if you like. So this is just information that needs to be completed. So if you click on the more button, that gives you a little bit more detail as to why that error message has been surfaced. And one thing I like is when you do click on the actual hyperlink, it takes you directly to the area you need to complete. So let me just fill this in. And if we now validate the return, you can see that the form is valid and that there are no errors. So once we're at this point, we can complete the return. And what that does is it'll move the return from drafted through to completed, but it'll also give us our options of how we'd like to send this out for approval. So we can mark it as signed, or we can mark it as out to sign, which means we've printed it and we've sent it out to the taxpayer to sign, or we can send it out to be approved electronically. So if we click on that, and as I mentioned earlier, LodgeiT comes with unlimited e-signatures. So if you're not using electronic approvals at the moment, here's a great opportunity to improve your workflows as well as show your clients that you're quite modern, you're up with the times. So here are all of our options regarding sending this e-signature request. We can see down here we have the wording or the email copy that we looked at previously in our settings area, and we've also got our reminders set here for every 5 days. Once we're happy with our settings, we can hit the send button and send the return out to Bronwyn for approval. Okay, so we can see up here the e-signature request has been successfully sent. Now what I'm going to do is pretend to be Bronwyn. I'm going to jump into her email and show you what she actually receives. So here we are in Bronwyn's inbox. We can see a email has come through. Our lovely branding is being displayed there, our email copy. And so she just needs to click on review and sign. And we have security on this so that the appropriate person is signing the return. So we'll enter in the code. Okay, so here's the substantiation documentation and then our individual tax return. So all that Bronwyn needs to do is click on Get Started. She clicks here to sign where she can pop in a signature. And she can elect to insert it or insert it everywhere that's required for this particular document. So we do that. We select continue. She marks that she agrees that this is all correct, and it's done. As simple as that. And if we go back to the inbox, you can see that a copy of the return has been provided to Bronwyn for her records. So if I just quickly show you that, I wanted to take you right down to the bottom here. Where you can see the audit trail. So it shows us when the document was sent to Bronwyn for approval, when it was viewed, when it was signed, and when the document was completed. We'll now jump back into LodgeiT so that you can see how our workflow has been updated as well. So here I am back in LodgeiT under Bronwyn's return, and you can see that the status of her return has now moved to signed. Now, if I also click on the dashboard view, which gives me a view of all of my clients, you can see that there's one here to be signed. So we could mark that off and hit the sign and lodge button. Unfortunately, I don't have a tax agent number, so I can't click on that, but you could certainly take this for a trial and put in your own tax or BAS agent number to be able to see the full end-to-end lodgement process. So that is doing an individual return with a little bit of manual data entry. The next example we're going to have a look at is a company where we're going to automate the data entry. So let's go back to the dashboard. So integrating data from a client's accounting system is a great time saver. And we also understand that you'll have clients using a variety of solutions, which is why LodgeiT enables you to connect with QuickBooks Online as well as Xero and MYOB. So in today's example, we're going to have a look at integration with QuickBooks Online. So I'll select a client, and it's actually a company return that we'll be doing. Now there's two ways that you can get data into LodgeiT. One is by importing it, and you can select from the options here. Alternatively, you can push the data from the Prep for Taxes area within QuickBooks Online. So I'll just take you in there. Okay, so here we are in QuickBooks Online Accountant, and for my Carefree Candy client, I'm going to select to review data in the Prep for Taxes area. So this is a relatively new area. So in Prep for Taxes, your client's balance sheet and P&L information is displayed and compared to the prior year. You can then make adjustments and add notes and attachments to finalise your client's accounts. So once the books are complete, you're then in a position to export the data to LodgeiT. At this screen, we confirm that we want to connect this particular client to LodgeiT. Confirming the correct client, and then the data is being imported from QuickBooks Online. So here we are in the tax return for Carefree Candy, and again I can navigate across using these options. But if we go into the profit and loss, for example, and we have a look at sales of goods and services, we can see that there is a sales value here and the amount of $17,897. And again, if I quickly take you into QuickBooks Online, we can see that that sales number is represented here as well. So it all adds up. And in addition to that, you can also see this label that gives you information about where that information's come from. So we can see that that's come directly from QuickBooks Online. And if we were to click on this hyperlink, it then tells us how it's mapped that information from QuickBooks Online and how it's put it into the appropriate field in the return. So if we go back into the form, should any figures get updated in QuickBooks Online, now that the ledger is linked to LodgeiT, you can simply hit the refresh button here and the form will get updated. So there's just a few more areas I want to show you before I wrap up. Now, earlier we had a look under the Tools menu, and I just want to quickly show you the depreciation area. So you can set up depreciation schedules for your clients here, and you can see I've got a couple of assets. So I'll just quickly run the report so you can see what that looks like too. And so we can see with this depreciation schedule that the system's calculated $189 in depreciation. The thing I like about LodgeiT is that it automatically adds that to the form. So if I just jump back into the form here and under depreciation, we'll see there's the $189 for my plant and equipment group. The next area I wanted to touch on is work papers. So LodgeiT has a work papers area where you can substantiate values, but it's also supported by an approval process. So that means a team member can come through and validate the information for certain accounts, and that'll be supported by worksheets and ledger transactions and potentially documents you may upload. But then the manager, for example, can come through and review that and approve the work that's being done. So it can be approved and then marked as finished, which means that those work papers are then locked so that they cannot be further edited. Now, the last thing that I want to take you through is to see how easy it is to create the special purpose financial reports. So LodgeiT comes with a range of entity special purpose financial reports, but you can take those reports and modify them to suit your practice. So I'm going to select one that I've modified. And you can see this is my SPFR. Now, this first sentence is what I modified just so you could see how easy it is to edit. And you can see all the relevant client information has been pre-filled. And so you can work through those to take a look. But for example, if we jump into the notes area, what I wanted to show you is that you can further tailor this on the fly. So if inventories isn't relevant for your client, you can remove that before hitting the complete button and then sending out the SPFR for your client to approve. When it comes to support and training, you've got some great resources within LodgeiT. So under this question mark area, there's some getting started guides to help you get up and running. Then there's a very extensive knowledge base to help you with FAQs, and there's also a great range of videos that you can watch to learn how to use the product. You can also lodge a call ticket within the knowledge base as well. When it comes to training, within QuickBooks Online Accountant, under Pro Advisor and Training, you'll see a 2-hour module to help you get up and running with QuickBooks Tax, powered by LodgeiT. We also run live QuickBooks Tax training as well, so it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for. So to wrap up today's demonstration, there's just a few key points that I'd like you to take away. The first, LodgeiT is an online tax and BAS preparation and lodgement tool. It caters for all form types, with prior year returns available from 2015 for individual returns and from 2010 for the others. You can import data from a variety of solutions. However, you can set up a dynamic integration with QuickBooks Online as well as Xero and MYOB, saving you heaps of time in data entry. LodgeiT comes with unlimited signatures to streamline your tax workflow, plus you get unlimited users. In terms of security, the system is secured with two-factor authentication, plus the internal settings let you control activity at employee as well as return level. And the best bit is LodgeiT is provided as a benefit of the QuickBooks Pro Advisor program. So you can redeem your free coupon by going to QuickBooks Online Accountant, selecting Pro Advisor, then Benefits, and clicking on Redeem Now. I hope that quick look at LodgeiT has given you an insight into how it works and how it can save your practice time. If you'd like to learn more, have a chat to your partner manager or call the team on 1800 618 521. Thanks for watching.